guys, I'm KingPower44 and today I'm going to teach you how to play Ana. Ana is a very interesting hero. She's classed as a sniper, but she's also a support. At first glance, you may think like, hey, how does that work? But as you'll see when we go over her abilities, it actually ends up working really well. She can heal her team pretty well and support them the way that she needs to. Okay, so we're going to talk about her abilities real quick. Okay, Ana's main weapon is her biotic rifle. Now, even though you can see that it has two modes of fire, much like Widowmaker's rifle, unlike Widow's, both modes are sniper rounds and they both heal allies, hit, and damage enemies that are hit. And we'll take a look at that right now. Okay, you can see here, if you hold the right mouse button, you'll scope in and you basically send the shot down, doing damage over time. You'll see these aren't shots that do instant damage, but the damage rather comes over time. And then if you don't scope in, if you're just walking around and you hit your left mouse button, the shot will fire and do damage. But you can see a difference. Here, I'm going to show it to you right now. So scoped in, it's a hit scan weapon, and the minute you hit something, it takes damage. But not scoped in, you see it's a projectile, and it actually takes time for the projectile to get over to the target that you're trying to hit. And now you can see that it also heals allies. So one thing to keep in mind, that if an ally is kind of low and you want to heal them with your biotic rifle, maybe scoping in is a much better option because it's instant instead of having to wait for your heal to actually hit them to start healing them. Alright, let's talk about her next ability. Her next ability is her sleep dart. Now this ability is awesome. You can basically fire a sleep dart that puts the target to sleep for 5 seconds or until damage is done to them. And this ability is great for stopping ultimates right in their tracks. But remember that barriers like Zarya's, Reinhardt's, or Winston cannot be penetrated by the sleep dart, so look out for that. Let's take a look at that right now. Okay, so this is Ana's sleep dart. You can see it puts the target to sleep for around 5 seconds, and then they'll wake up on their own. But as you'll see in a second, it also has an 8-second cooldown, I believe. We'll see right now. If we put the target to sleep, it's a 12-second cooldown. If we put the target to sleep and then damage them, they'll get right back up. So, you know, coordinating that with your team, telling them like who you put to sleep, whether or not to hit them or just let them stay asleep. Like maybe an enraged Winston, you might want to keep him asleep instead of waking him back up right away. It's very important. Also, it could be done to a weaker enemy and you guys can just burst them down right there while they're asleep. But it's again very good at stopping ultimates, because if the person's ulting, you hit him with the sleep dart, no ult. It's great. It's also a really good escape tool. So if you're huddled up in like a corner or something, taking shots down range, and maybe like a Tracer or a Genji come, you can sleep dart and just put them right to sleep, and you can go ahead and get away or try to finish them off. Alright, let's talk about her next ability. Ana's next ability is her biotic grenade. This grenade heals and boosts healing done to your allies and damages your enemies, as well as prevents enemies from being healed. So it's a very useful grenade, especially in big groups of enemies or a mix of enemies and allies, because it'll heal your allies, give them a boost to their healing, and debuff the enemies as well as do some damage. Let's take a look at that right now. Okay, so here on this group of enemies, or just this pair right here, we're gonna go ahead and throw our grenade. That's what it looks like, and you can see that it's damaged them quite a bit. But the trick is they also cannot be healed. Now I can't show you that on the training field because there are no bots that heal the other bots, but I'll show you here. If you throw it on your allies, they will continuously heal, as well as get a buff to their healing for a meantime, so that your healing or the other supports on your team can really burst heal someone. This ability is really useful. Again, we said it before, but in groups of enemies and allies, maybe a mixture during a team fight or something, it's a very useful ability. You can also use it on yourself, so if you're low on health, you know, you just throw it down, you heal yourself, and you might be able to escape with your life. Alright, let's talk about her next ability. Nanoboost is Ana's ultimate ability, so basically she's just allowed to pick an ally and supercharge them, giving them a buff to their movement speed, as well as reduced damage taken and increased damage output. So whomever gets the boost should be quite happy. This is a really good support ability because, you know, it's not like she's putting out damage directly, but she can pick someone on her team like Reinhardt or Genji or Pharah or McCree, just anybody, and really give them a real big boost to how much damage they're doing, help keep them alive with that reduced damage buff, as well as increase their movement speed. So it's very, very cool, and we're going to take a look at that right now. So it's kind of hard for me to show you, but I think I can use it on one of these bots. And there we go. So you can see the lightning is charged up. That's how you tell if someone's powered up by Ana. You can see that bot is not taking too much damage. And if he was firing back at one of these bots, you would see he's also putting out a lot more damage. This ability should really be used in coordination with your team, because if you can, you know, power someone up as they're about to ult, you can really create devastating combos. Alright, so that pretty much does it for Ana's abilities. So let's go ahead and talk about some tips. We don't have too many because I haven't played Ana too much, but I can give you some basic tips that will help you when playing her. Alright, so for the first one is you will find it much easier to hit your sleep dart to targets that are not moving. It does take time for the projectile from the sleep dart to reach the enemy that it's aimed at, and if you'll see right here, let's see if we get one of these moving ones from pretty far away. Oh, they just juked me so hard. It takes some time, so you definitely want to use it on enemies that are stationary, like Bastion, but you can also use it on enemies that are stationary while they're ulting or slowed. So Pharah, while she's ulting, she's stuck in that one position, so you can definitely hit her with the sleep dart and stop that ultimate. Reaper's ultimate, he moves pretty slowly while he's ulting, so you can hit him, stop that ultimate. And McCree is another one that, while they also move slower, he has to wait for the ultimate to charge up before he can dish out the amount of damage that he really wants to dish out. So it's really strong against McCree. Again, I gotta emphasize that it does not go through barriers like Zarya's barriers, Reinhardt's shield, or Winston's barrier. So you gotta make sure that you're aiming out of sight from the barriers, because they will not penetrate them. You will miss your shot. Okay, another tip is, this tip is really, really obvious, and it doesn't only go for Ana, but a lot of her abilities can be really well utilized when communicating with the team. So please communicate with your team, coordinate with them, because her ultimate, her sleep ability, and her grenade really, really shine when they're well coordinated with the team, and they're really, really strong at that point too. So another thing I want to talk about is some combos with Ana. So her grenade does do quite a bit of damage. So you see, if I can get a shot off and then throw a grenade, you can see how low that training bot is already. Maybe a punch or two. That's a nice little combo right there. Well, that's it for Ana, guys. To be honest, like I said before, I haven't played too much of her, but my brother is pretty good with her, and with practice, so can you. She's a really good off support, someone like Zenyatta, and she also works really, really well with supports like Zenyatta and Lucio. But that's it, guys. Remember to like this video and subscribe if you guys are new or you haven't yet, and in the comments down below, let me know any tips you have for Ana. I'm King Power 44, and I'm out of here, guys. Peace.